We'll start the webinar shortly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to our third webinar of this series for the year 2021. Yesterday was World with Literacy Day, and therefore Literacy Day greetings to you all. I am Amrit Shiuna, Director at the National Library of Maldives. I will be the host for today. Before we go further with the webinar, I would like to give few housekeeping announcements. The duration of this session is 1 hour and this meeting is being recorded. All participants, please mute your mics and off cameras during the presentation. To avoid distractions, we will put a link in the chat to mark the attendance. Please fill the attendance before the end of the session. So once the session starts, we will be posting the link. We will issue a certificate to those who completes the evaluation form. The evaluation form will be posted in the chat box at the end of the presentation. So while the question and answer session is going on, you can fill the evaluation form. Many thanks to Dr. Gina for all the kind help given to the National Library to make this webinar series to happen. Dr. Gina is an independent list researcher from Singapore. Topic for today's webinar is library services transformation during COVID-19 pandemic. Well, the topic is very relevant to the current situation. We are very pleased to welcome the head of ICT sector and chief information officer at Sarawak State Library, Malaysia, Mr. Wan Mazli bin Wan Razali. He manages various ICT projects for Sarawak State Library as well as rural libraries and is actively involved in community projects to provide IT for information, access and learning to the rural community in Sarawak. For example, Kembara Ilmu is an outreach program for information literacy in the rural community. Also, he initiated the Makerspace and Maker programs at Sarawak State Library in 2016. Very interesting, right? Mr. Mazli currently holds different positions. Positions such as he is a standing community member, management and marketing sector, IFLA from 2012 to 2025. Also, he is the president of ASEAN Public Library Information Network and Secretary General of the Library Association of Malaysia. He is also represents Malaysia in the International Network of Emerging Library Innovator, INELI, from 2015 to 2017. Without any further ado, I request Mr. Mazli to give the presentation. Over to you, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Shiona, for the brief introductions. And thank you for all of you, the affiliated of us in this webinar. I'm really glad to be here. I'm being honored for this opportunity to present to all of you. I hope that both of us can learn from each other during this presentation. You can ask questions. So allow me to share my slides. All right. All right. As per the introduction by Madam Shona on the title of these webinar sessions on the library service is transformation during COVID-19 pandemic. So due to my background is in ICT, so basically the gist of the slide presented today will be a lot on ICT and some of it on the collaborations because of my function in the as the president of ASEAN Public Library Information Network to advocate on the collaborations. All right. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings everyone, and thank you for your presence, and then thank you for this opportunity. And we are aware that COVID-19 pandemic affected most of the industry in the world. And hence we have to ensure we are serving our customers continuously on their information need, regardless of the situations. But it's just that we have to find the way how. And however, with the dynamic team that we have in our library, and I believe you have in your library as well, in your community library, in your school libraries, in your university libraries, the creative idea that you have, the problem-solving skills that you have, the teamwork that you have, will make the solution to these questions I posted on these slides. So how we reach out to our customer during pandemic because of the lockdown, the close down of a lot of services. How do we deliver library service? How to increase our visibility? Probably people, due to the longer time of the unpresence of us during the pandemic, so we have to close down our service and so on. How do we increase that visibility? How do we ensure that the library services continually serve our public, our customers, and so on, and then establish collaborations? How do we continue? I believe that before the pandemic, we have some sort of collaborative programs or collaborative projects with our communities, with our governments, and so on. So how do we continue to establish collaboration, even though during the pandemics? So this is briefly on who am I. Some have been introduced by Madam Shona just now. And this is the outline. Before we go further to the slide, this is just the outline that I want you to know that what are the things that we're going to touch during the presentations. So this is an overview. So we are going to have a time for question and answer at the end of the presentations. All right, let me begin with this quote. The library is my heaven and sanctuary, a place I go to when I feel lost, the same place that raised me up to be more than I could be. I could have been less than what I am today if not for the library. And librarians are the ones who help raise people to be better than they can be. A quote by the chairman of library board for Sarawak State Library. So with this quote, how do we make our customer or library user feel the same way? Feel the same way as per the quotations. This quote leads to the 3 questions that need to be answered by all of us as library service provider. So actually the 4 questions that I mentioned earlier. So the expected result, timeline, risks, barriers, rapport with the teams, these can be highlighted as well. So when we want to answer all those questions. And let me share with you the philosophy of Sarawak State Library. So which this philosophy we kept since the beginning of our establishment in the year 2000. And it is still relevant. It's still inspiring us to do more, reach more community, and reach out to more areas in Sarawak. So more than 50% of Sarawak is rural. So in some areas, road challenges is there. Some of it we cannot reach to the community by using a normal transportation. We have to reach. You have to use boat. We have to use a 4-wheel drive. We have to go through the timber track to go there. But still, it doesn't stop us to reach to our people, to our customers. So the picture you have seen now is the Sarawak State Library. So just an overview of a little bit about Sarawak State Library, established in 2000, as I mentioned earlier. So we have the area, a total floor area of 13,300. And then the total land area is 94 acres. We have a bigger lake, bigger than our library, a 2-story building. Our core function is as a state library and as the state archives. So we have a lot of landscaping features. Is a kind of a tree library concept where we are organizing a tree planting two times a year, so that it keep growing and it gives the environment and sensory to not only people but also the flora and the fauna. So we got our financial source from mainly from the state government, but we do collaborate with others. Example like the National Library of Malaysia, Japan Foundations, US Embassy, and other individuals as well. So the library as a community space was recognized as a key aspect to foster community engagement. So I quoted the community engagement in public libraries practical implication, the study by Mr. Huyun Sunga and his partner in this study. So the collaborations and engagement with the community is a passive form of community engagement, wherein the community-driven approach and the organic nature of the community engagement process met and reach out to the community. So in the library community partnership, revealed that partnership with other institutions could serve as a more significant function to the library as to its partner and the community. So it's kind of a community library bonding relationship. So the result of this partnership is visible. You can see programs being organized and so on. The engagement of the community, the feeling of the community towards the importance of the library is there. And then it will increase access to the library and then reach out to some unexpected locations. So it means that even though you are from library in the city or library in the rural area, the people will have bonding or will have a good relationship, will feel the importance of the presence of the library in your area. So that's important of creating, make a library as a community space. So the strategies to go through the transformation. So studies conducted by message verse on her research entitled Library Partnership, a Key to Growth, right? Revealed that the partnership with other institutions could serve as a more significant functions. So the library, the importance of the library will be felt by the community. It makes the library visible. It makes the library important. People feel important if they are connected to the library. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to achieve. Because of if the people is your customer and then is your backup, so whatever happened to the library, you will have people who stand by you. That's the most important thing. That's why the partnership with the community, the engagement with the community, the collaboration with the community must be established. Must establish a strong bonding and strong partnership with the community, because they are supporting your service. They are supporting your presence. Okay, the second strategy is on the transformation through maximizing ICT and the processes. All right. So how we can start the library community engagement? How do we start the library community engagement? So as simple as find a problem to be solved. Go to your community or do a simple research on what is the problems to be solved. Like the example that I have here is the absence of established partnership between library and community. This is usually the problems if we want to make an engagement with the community. So the absence of established partnership between the library and the community, example like government, institution, academic institution, non-government organizations that we want to establish the collaborations. So what are the resources that we can leverage from our collaborations with them? So the cause of the problems must be studied. So in the presence of looking at the problems, we have to aim to address the absence of partnership between the library, community institutions, and then find the major cause of these problems. And then look at the impact of our collaborations, collaborative programs or collaborative projects. So how big is the area we want to cover? And then what are the resources that we need? And who are the people that we want to get involved? People with the skill. And then what are the skills that we don't have? That's something that we need to address and give training and so on. And then what are the preparations we need to do? So, but please be in mind that when we establish a collaboration, the preparations of a memorandum of agreement between parties must be established so that we can have good bonding. We have something to refer in our engagement. And then it's good to make it official as well. And then what are the characteristics of collaborative project? So we want to solve our problems, but we have to look at when we want to establish a collaborative programs with our collaborators, we have to look at the characteristics. Firstly is citizen-centric. It's nothing about the library. It's not about just individual. It's about a citizen. It's about the community. So we want to solve the problems. So citizen-centric is represent an improvement in the quality of interaction between librarians in the region as a duty bearers and the citizen as a customer. So it's always a customer and the library or librarians. So the collaborative projects result or output should be a product and a service for external customer. So meaning to say, to solve the problems in the community. This should be the characteristic number one if we want to establish collaborative projects. So there's a transformation that we need to do for our library services. And collaborative, it must be a collaborative. It involves a team, several units, institutions, agencies, converging to resolve a common problems and optimize an improvement or innovation opportunity. And then this collaborative project must be relevant and innovative because we want to solve problems. We want to get the involvement of the citizen or the community. And then it must be a collaborative between the library and the community. So it has to be relevant and innovative. It must be linked with the key areas. It should be addressed either a genuine concern of innovators, those innovators who come to you and propose give a proposal on how to solve the problems, or a shared concern of librarians in the region. Example, you have been there for so many years, and then you know what is the problem with the in the community itself, and then what is your innovative or relevant solution to mitigate or to solve these problems. All right. So it doesn't matter how big or how small is your library. You have to find a solution. You have to find a problem to be solved among your communities. So if you come from a small libraries, then look at the problems that you can solve in a small scale. Right? And lastly, the visible. So it makes the service, the extended service that you have established as part of the solutions to the problems visible. It might be used by the public. It can benefit the publics. So either it can be used inside the library or outside the library, but as long as it benefit the citizens, and also can be benefit by the library as well. So these four characteristics, it has to deliver through effectiveness. It must achieve the objective that we have, and then it has to be efficient, fast, reasonable, and transparent use of resources during the collaborative projects, and developmental of character, either at the library side, the librarians, or the community. It must change in terms of character, to be a better one, a better community for themselves, for their family, and for the librarian also for themselves, and then for the library that they serve, and for the public that they serve. And then we need an action plan in order to execute all those collaborative projects that we have. So these are the action plan that commonly we need to establish when we want to execute a collaborative projects. These 7 action plan can be added, depend on the situation at your library. You know better your community, you know better the situations at your place. So, but this one has been established, and what we are doing in Sarawak State Library and other ASEAN countries which have advocates to them during the conference and the webinar series previously. So we need to establish a team or committee with the skill and competencies. Example like friends of the library and the staff. So each of the collaborative project or programs, we need a champion. Either it can come from the community or it can come from the staff or the librarians. So this team or committee will look for partners, identify partners, potential local community products, things that you need to highlight. The products can be the arts, craft, and so on that you want to establish collaborative programs with the community. And it can be a tourism spot or tourism activities. So I believe Maldives is well known in the world for your tourism. And you can organize a workshop, seminars to invite the community to participate. And then either participations in terms of being the audience or participation in terms of as a resource person. And then they share their knowledge and skill with the community. In addition to that, the identify partner and collaborators. This is among the community, organizations or individuals that have the courage or have the interest to engage freely with the community. Library is the venue for them by sharing their skills and knowledge to benefit community who willingly give a free training, free sharing of knowledge, free sharing of skills and so on to the community. And identify the potential product and their makers or creators. This is to highlight the skill and product and services. So product, when it has been a highlight, is open the market. It gives a space for that kind of product to be marketed. And provide a venue as a library. So we provide a venue for skilled individuals to share their knowledge for the community to learn. So it doesn't matter how big is the community who will join that workshop or that the talk or the training sessions. But the most important thing is whoever want to have want to gain skill or want to improve their life by learning. So we should not stop them by only limit by giving any limitation. For example, if it's not a big community, we don't want to do it, for example. So let it be. If you have 2 people or 3 people in the programs, so go ahead, because of these people, if they got the benefit from that program, it will ripple. So the second time you organize, there will be a lot of people coming. So let's start small. It doesn't matter how big is the size. Let's start small, and then let the presence of your people or community who joining that program be your advocates, be your spokesperson, and so on. So do your best whenever we give a service to that community. They will become our advocates. They will become our spokespersons. And then the organized trainers program. So it's always we are looking at someone who have skill and knowledge. Then we want them to come to the library with a specific task, with specific skills and so on, and organize trainer program. So this program together skilled individual to train interested group to learn a new skill. For example, someone who know how to make baskets, a good one, is marketable one, and then we invite them to share knowledge so that a lot of other people can learn the same, the same skill. Probably will produce, based on their creativity, different products altogether. And then the second last is the identify a marketplace to market the products. So this basically online or offline marketplace, either in the small community or we put it online. Now, um, Facebook and Instagram is a marketplace for a lot of people to do marketing. So digital marketing is another skill that we need to learn and to study now. And then lastly, on maintain the continuously improve marketing. So these local products or any service that we want to highlight to the community, we have to maintain its availability. We have to put it always visible. So this is how it's sustained. So when is the product is sustained, and then we also have someone who inherited or learn the skill from the resource person that we have organized in the library. It will make that the idea, the creativity, the skills continuous, sustain. So if that product is so popular, it meaning to say it will not stop because of the continuity of people who have the knowledge and skill is still there. So that to maintain the sustainability of the product, so that it can continuously available throughout the time. All right, let's look at the skill and competencies. So skills are the specific learned abilities that we need to perform a given job well. And competencies, on the other hand, are the person's knowledge and behavior that lead them to a successful in a job given to them. So these are 5 skills listed. So this is the skills that listed when we have our strategic plan in Sarawak State Library. So we can figure out these 5 skills being exhibited by the members of the organizations. I'm sure you have seen this skill is so common now. So self-discipline, self-motivated person, I believe you have in your library. All right, people with time management, presentations, speaking in front of the camera, virtual audience, problem solving, a technical skill, preparing slide, assisting in the Zoom meeting, and so on. That's a skill that most of us gathered. Some of it due to the force of the pandemic, due to the force of we are not willing to work normally at the office, they have gained this skill, right? So some of them, they don't have the skill before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, they have the skill. Those who really shy in talking in front of the camera become somebody who very good and very friendly with the camera during the pandemic. So these are the skills that we need when we establish the collaborations. And then the 5 competencies is the communications, customer service, content creation, teaching, and collaborative teamwork. So these 5 competencies have been developed by our people in the library to ensure the user continuously enjoy our library services. So those competencies have produced results such as maximize instant messaging technologies in terms of communications. Example, like a lot of using the messaging, a lot of digital communication has been going around during the pandemic when the things need to be done faster, and then we don't have opportunity to meet physical. And then service, in terms of customer service, there are service designed to reach to the customer. Example like the Pandey programs that we have. I'm going to have another slide explaining on the Pandey. And the Bookbay service delivery. The Bookbay service delivery is like, I have a slide also to explain this Bookbay service delivery. It's like a food panda. It's like a Grab food to deliver food panda and Grab food deliver food. But this Bookbay deliver books to the users at their doorsteps. And then creation a lot of content. We have established Sarawak State Library channel on YouTube, and then Instagram, Facebook, a lot of content. Even though we have created Pustaka channel, Sarawak State Library channel on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook way before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, a lot of content created, and then push content, establish content, as well as highlighting the contents in our social media. And then the second last, we train a lot of people among our staff as a trainer or facilitator in the online class, either it's live or recorded. So we develop their skill to create content, their own content based on their own expertise. And as lastly, on the creating a lot of collaborative teamworks. So even though there's no physical program or no physical contact with the community, so the networking is still being established with the government department, NGOs, and individuals through the technology that we have. So later on, I will show to you all those example and evidence of all the collaborative programs that we have with our communities. So whenever we plan for the programs, this is a guideline that I can share with all of you. You can take it. So whenever we plan for a collaborative programs, for a collaborative projects, we always put at the expected result so that it can guide us. It can give us so that we are really on track in terms of organizing events and so on. So the expected result, number one, that we need to put when we organize programs or activities, increase use of library facilities to support local industry. So always put the library facilities to be used to support local industry, as long as it doesn't really involve a lot of expenses on our side. Secondly, on the increased use of the library as a venue for expansion of knowledge and skills. So we always advocate that. So the expected result must be increase of use of library for these two purposes. And in addition to that, increase inter or intra-community relations and bonding. So meaning to say that whenever we have a program with the community, it increase the use of the library. So increase the relationship between library and the community. And then increase bonding between library and the community as well. And then the second last is build a high mutual benefit engagement to acknowledge skill and knowledge. So meaning to say somebody who have knowledge from their community, you have to engage them, be with them, give a venue for them to share their knowledge with the community in the trainer programs. So it gives sustainable to the knowledge itself, sustainable to the skill itself. And then the librarians must be united, because the collaboration can be inter-library, can be inter-community. So, and then the expected result must be discussed and agreed upon in the planning stage of each collaboration program that we have. Right? It doesn't matter how big is your library. It doesn't matter the size of your community. So these are the expected results when you organize a collaborative project or collaborative programs with your community. So let's see the transformations. The example that we want to highlight to all of you based on what we have achieved in the Sarawak State Library. So the transformation, the service transformation has been made through established collaboration with the community. So all the explanation earlier. So we need to establish collaboration with the community, utilizing ICT. So that transformation should address the utilizing of ICT. And thirdly, maximizing skill and competencies of staff. So based on the skill and competencies, as I discussed earlier, it should maximize that. If we don't have, or if we lack of some of the groups, lack of skill and competencies as per the 5 skill and 5 competencies that I mentioned earlier, so the HR or the management should give the opportunity for them to learn, right? So allow them to learn, train the trainer within the organization, within the library. So why transformation is important? So generally, our aim is to leverage community resources. But through library partnership and collaboration, which library will provide a venue to people, community and users to new experience, skill and knowledge, offer unique services in the library to expand its role. So it's like we are expanding roles of our libraries. And then programming the activities which require library and community engagement based on this specific objective. There are 4 objectives why transformation is important. So all projects or all collaborative programs implemented by library in their respective libraries correspond to this following objective. So it will in order to make the library meets evolving needs of the community, it will enhance its ability to respond to dynamic changes in the community environment. That's why we need to see what is the problems in order to create the community library relationship. We need to find the problem to be solved. So this is how we respond to dynamic changes in the community environment. Secondly, when to increase the community awareness on the importance of information and knowledge. We know that people say that information and knowledge is important, but it's still less people use library as a place to gain knowledge and find information. Why? So this kind of thing is a problem itself to be solved. And then through the community engagement, probably we can solve the problem and bring the community to use the library or expand the library services. Right, by giving them the opportunity to work, to engage with us, it will stimulate ideas and generate innovative services to improve the life of its people. So only the people know what is their problems. That's why we need to engage with them. We need to establish a collaboration. We need to establish connectivity with them. And then to increase the visibility of library to the community due to programs conducted in the library. This will build the library as a venue that accommodates development of community resources and ideas. So we know as our people don't really make use of the library. So that problems on its own. And then we need to increase our visibility. Probably they don't see our presence. Probably they don't see our importance. That's why we need to establish this connection. Make sure we are visible with our programs, expand the programs, engage with the community. And lastly, the maximizing the resources that we have in the library, the human resource that we have. The human resource from the community side. And the library material, the books that we have, if we subscribe to online database, how do we highlight this? And make use of ICT that we have. Example, like people attracted to Wi-Fi. Now every restaurant have a Wi-Fi. So if those restaurant who doesn't have Wi-Fi will be, I don't know in other place, but it will reduce some of the customers. They will look for Wi-Fi, and people maximize Wi-Fi at the places like this. So some they do engagement at the place, some they do business at this kind of public place. So people are working mobile nowadays. All right. Let me share the experience in transformation in process and procedures in Sarawak State Library. So in the experience of Sarawak State Library, or in Bahasa, we call it Pustaka Negeri Sarawak, during the pandemic, we established a standard operating procedures. Consists of staff schedule, staff work schedule, library operation, physical distancing procedures, visitors and staff care management, providing hand sanitizer, marking on where to how do you stand to practice physical distancing and so on. So that's the first thing we established when the pandemic rises in Sarawak. So I believe other place in the world also providing some SOPs for their libraries or their organization or their building. And then when it comes to the programs that we organize, while working from home, the management decisions was for the HR and staff to look for the online training to be attended. So the officers exhibited courage to learn technical skill, or new skill, for example, like learning to use Zoom and Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Webex to attend online meeting, conference, seminars, and workshop organized in-house or off-site, or organized by somebody else. They put it on some other organization and they put it online. And as well as on our side, we organize online events such as webinar, conference, online talk session, meetings with external parties. So these activities increase the library visibility. So by organizing conference, recently we have international conference on international knowledge virtual conference, which was attended by Dr. Gina, is one of our speakers at the event. So it increased the visibility of Sarawak State Library. So likewise, you can organize at your place webinars like what you organize for 2-day sessions, or else I will not be visible to the librarian community in Maldives if you don't organize this kind of event. So these are the collaborations that we need to establish. So similar, I believe not only Sarawak State Library is doing this thing, but a lot of other libraries is doing the same thing as well. And to reach out their own community. By having this management decisions in Sarawak State Library, we can see majority of the staff develop presentation skills in front of the camera and able to deliver and record their online class for reference. And this recorded sessions, a webinar, online conference, talk sessions, and meeting has been increasing our content in YouTube and Facebook. See, so this kind of thing, even though you do at the one channel, actually is can be connected with other channel as well. So your visibility increasing at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and so on, because of you keep posting what are you doing, what you are doing. You want to reach out to your customer, to your community, even though they cannot physically use your facilities. So by the use of technologies, by the good internet connectivity, by a good group of people who have ideas on what are the programs or activities to be organized, and it increased the visibility of the libraries. So in addition to that, we need to maximize usage of ICT. So that's why access was given to facilities like cloud to support our staff working from home and to ensure security of our records transmitted while we are performing our job. So we give authentications for the staff to access those clouds. So it will make the productivity or the work continue even though we are not physically at the office. In supporting the staff to work from home, we allow them to bring, we provide them with the laptops at any range, any level of staff, as long as their work can be done online. I know that some of the areas, the staff will not be able to do their works online, like book shelving. That staff will not be able to do their works online, but we can give them other tasks which doable online for them to do, so that the works continues. And this is the Bookbay that I mentioned earlier. So Bookbay is a book lending service. The service made available specifically to our library users who wish to borrow books from the library throughout the movement control order phases. And then the user can choose the book delivered to their place at their address, or they can pick up from the library at the dedicated stations we provide at the library. So however, due to the limited resources, the delivery only available within 20-kilometer radius from our library. So let me share with you on how it works. Bookbay, this is the brand. Bookbay service is a brand, is provided exclusively for members of Sarawak State Library only. So it works with the online app, or mobile app that we have called Angkasa 2. So from the Angkasa 2, you have to find your books, which one do you have interest, and then after that you mark the book and fill in your address to be sent, and give your contact and so on from the system itself. And then the runner or the delivery service man will collect the book from the library and send it to your doorstep. Or you can decide to pick up from the library. So it's similar to what we have for the Food Panda or Grab Food. You request for the food, the runner or delivery man will collect from the restaurant and so on and send it to your house. So similar to that, the runner will be informed. User will request, runner will be informed through the system, pick the book from the library and send it to your doorstep. So that's how it works. So at the moment, the delivery service is free for all our members. So this is how we engage with public. This is how we appreciate public, appreciate the community because of they are using the services and continuously support our service and continue to read, continue to engage in the knowledge and information matters, even though during the movement control order during the pandemic and so on. So this is an example of how we deliver. So the books we deliver in such a way that we put in the standard goodie bags to the customer. So you see the logo of Bookbay is to make known to the customers that the books arrive. So to continuously support reading habit among the Sarawakians, so this service has been provided. It was come to the attention of us that people are, and then as I mentioned earlier, so we have to find a problem to be solved in order to engage with the community. So these are the problems which arises to us. The customer or people come over to us, how do we continue to borrow, as a customer, how do we continue to borrow books from your library when your library is closed? Then we cannot be there physically to borrow the books. Then comes into ideas that during the first phase of the pandemic in Sarawak, that we established this service. And we solve the problems of people want to continue borrowing books from our library by introducing this service, right? So if you connect to the collaborative, the explanation in my earlier presentation, so it gives the idea on how to solve the problems if we know what is the problem with the community. So the challenge that we have last time when someone come to us that how do we continue to use to borrow the books from your library has encouraged us to find solutions. So encourage the problem solving skills among us in Sarawak State Library. So the Bookbay service was born in the middle of the pandemic. So the Bookbay is the example of solution to meet the customer need for books, but they are not be able to come to the library physically to borrow the books. So the Bookbay serve as the medium to deliver the books to customers' home. So it solves a problem which arises earlier on how we can continue to borrow a book from the library during the pandemic where the library is closed. So come into a situation to returning books. How do we continue and give confidence
It's 17 hours.
to our customers that we are not the medium of transmitting this virus? Because of somebody who borrowed the books and after that returning to the books to our library, and then we don't have a medium to check whether the book is, we only have a medium to sanitize. So we are confident that with this technology of book sterilizer, we give our best effort to provide this book sterilizer and to avoid any transfer of virus when people returning the books and before the next person borrowing it. So we have book sterilizer machine. It employs ultraviolet lights to disinfect printed material and eradicate pathogens and microorganisms that can cause disease. So it is specifically designed for killing germs and eliminate bacteria, viruses with UV rays. So a little bit about the specification of this book sterilizer. It automatically flips the pages in short operations time of 30 seconds and effective in preventing infection of various infectious disease. Sanitize up to 6 books in 30 seconds. So you just place a book inside this machine and then close it and then press the button and it will do the job for 30 seconds. And then the books will be able to shelf and then ready for the next person to borrow. And to avoid, to support the transaction of payment in Sarawak State Library, because we have a paid service, we have a cafeteria, and we have a book fine to be paid by the user. So we don't know how, we have to prevent the transmissions of diseases. We must avoid these kind of things. We don't want to be another cluster created by our service. So we introduced the mobile app for cashless payment. This is to address the importance of physical distancing as part of our effort to reduce the spread of COVID-19 at the time. We established regulations internally to encourage all transactions at the library cafe and library desk for payment of book fine using cashless payment. So in the screen, I put Sarawak Pay. Sarawak Pay is the Sarawak government-owned cashless payment applications. So we engage on this mobile app application to reduce the use of cash for payment at the cafeteria and the library desk. This is how we can support the government effort to reduce the spread of COVID-19. And the visibility of Sarawak State Library in the social media. So we established the Pustaka Sarawak channel on YouTube. Sarawak is the name of our state. Pustaka is in Bahasa, the English word is library, right? So currently we have 3.34 thousand subscribers on YouTube and uploaded during the pandemic 1,026 videos. It's increasing now. So this initiative was established to address the questions how far to deliver our service to the user. So before the pandemic, we always have the talk, seminar, conference. We do lunch and talk during on the almost every week. But the things, because of is part of the activities that we have in the Sarawak State Library, it cannot stop there, even though we don't have a space during the pandemic because we are not allowed to gather physically. So it continues virtually. So the action was taken to create Pustaka channel on YouTube. So the specific services on library and archives, record management, the online class that we have, the seminar, and then the carnival, a festival that we have also being done online with the presence of a lot of virtual community. And then what's good about it is that even though it was organized in a specific time and date, but people can revisit because it was recorded and put it on YouTube and Facebook as well. So as of 1st of September, there are 347,000 views to our videos. So it makes the visibilities, it makes the presence of Sarawak State Library for our programs among our customers, among our users. And visibility on social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We continuously push content to our customers. If they can't make it to Sarawak State Library physically, meaning to say we have to put up effort or a lot of programs to reach out to them. So currently our Facebook, we have 30,000 people likes and 35,000 people follow. And it was 69,000 people check in to our Sarawak State Library. And then I don't put records for the visibility of Sarawak State Library in Twitter and Instagrams. So quite a lot of people reach to that channel as well. All right, this is Pandey. So Pandey is one initiative for us to reach out continuously to our customers. This is the initiative, self-learning is in the online platform. So this learning medium is free of charge, is accessible anywhere, and then anytime you can have your own time to just do these online trainings. So currently we have 9,245 people enroll to attend these Pandey programs. So Pandey in Sarawak language, it means clever. But it is just a short form from a lengthy initiative wordings, which is People Accessible Network for Digital Empowerment and Inclusivity. So currently we have two types of Pandey. One is for digital community. So introductions to YouTube, introduction to social media, how to use the internet properly, and how to use e-commerce, how to use the online money transfer and online transactions, and so on. And secondly, on the Sarawak e-tourism. This is what we established early this year with our Sarawak Tourism Department. For them to improve or put up their visibility, that's the tourist spot in Sarawak for people to visit Sarawak virtually. This is how this platform has been established, answering questions about Sarawak tourism spot, tourism areas, and so on. So these Pandey modules equip the local community with basic digital skill so that they know how to use mobile device. This is on the literacy, digital community literacy. The use of mobile device, on how to do connection, how to make connections on the internet, how to use Wi-Fi, and so on. So the main purpose of this online learning is to acquire skill in the use of information technology, search and evaluation of digital information. So rural communities will become more digitally literate by using this online learning platform. So there are 5 modules in this learning platform. Module 1, Information and Communication Management. And then the using of digital initiative, dealing with digital communications. The online safety is also touched in the module number 4. And we are teaching them on libraries in a box. Right? Libraries in the box is offline internet solutions, which we provide a Raspberry Pi with the content from Khan Academy and Wikipedia. So more than 50,000 content inside this Raspberry Pi. So it's like a content hotspot. So whenever you bring your smartphone or laptop in the vicinity where Pustaka in the box is located, it's like you are just connected to the internet. But the content is just from the library in the box. So it's just a normal Wi-Fi connectivity, right? And all the programs that we have, even though we have established it, so it has the risk, right? So there are risks in all the things that we do, all right? So, but it's just that this risk must be addressed properly, and then you can reach to the success of each of the collaborative programs that you have. So example like lack of voluntary spirit, yeah, we do have people who being appointed, and then after that they are not really into engagement with the community, or the community doesn't want to get engaged with the library. But trust me, that other communities can, other people can really want to help. So it's always people in the community with two sides. One is doesn't bother about what library is offering. One is really want to help, really want to do voluntary works. So the following are the risks accounted in the implementation of collaborative project. So this is a common. So as long as you know how to deal with it, how to address it. So the most important is how do we respond to this? And how do we react to this risk? That's the most important. So the ability to address this risk would result in the project success. So you address all the risks, then you become better, the risk taker, you become better in giving solutions. You become better in terms of providing a solution to the risk or handling the risk. So despite the risks being identified, we Pustaka managed some of them successfully and successfully implemented the project that we have, either it's online or physical. All right. So in those who really want to work, so some of them is overcommitted. So because we have a lot of programs, so this person are also members to this group of projects, and then they also members to the end of the project. So it's overcommitted staff. So because of their willingness to work for the success of the project or the programs. And then another thing is technology. During the pandemic, because of the physical building is closed down, so the technology must be maximized. The communication technologies must be used, and then the technologies for us to create content also must be maximized. And then it happens that insufficient of ICT infrastructures as well. That's why actually we prepared some of the offline area with the offline internet solution, which is the Pustaka in the box just now, as I mentioned earlier. So insufficient ICT infrastructure has been addressed in a way that we provide an offline solutions to them. So we do address some of the rural library. They have a limited space in the library. So that's why it doesn't matter how big is your library, as long as you do the collaborative programs, and then the limited library space can be addressed through providing an online programs. Because when you do online talk, online seminars, it doesn't require a bigger space. The only thing that you do is you have internet connections, and you have content, and then you have laptop. And then you are all out for presenting your papers at your home, from your home. So it doesn't require space, even though the risk is on the limited space, but it's addressed by providing how the way you organize the programs. And then some negative perceptions that we cannot avoid. So we do have this kind of things happen. In either you do good things, or things that for public. It's always people who have negative perception, but we have to react, or we have to respond to this positively. That we are, as mentioned in the characteristic of the collaborative project, is meant for public. It must be a citizen-centric. It's for benefit of all, not benefit of one. All right. And before I end my slides, as a conclusions, to conclude, lesson learned from the programs that we have, in order to make sure our visibilities during the pandemics, we have to create a team leader or team manager. So somebody who have been appointed as a team leader or team manager must being a team leader. So that's why in order to ensure success of our Sarawak State Library YouTube channel, we appoint each of the channel, each of the programs, we appoint the committee, we appoint leader for each committee, for each subject. So that's how we make sure the posting, the uploading of content is on time, and then it's according to schedule, and then it's really based on the subject has been agreed during the planning. So a team leader must be established. We need a champion in order to do all this. Secondly is the team members. Team members is important. Someone with people with the skill just now, people with the competency, as I mentioned earlier. So that's how you ensure the sustainability of the programs. People with the skill will continue to create content. We continue to do a design. We'll find a subject for each content. And then the next step for the sustainability. So we continue to establish more content, finding more subject, and then looking at the collaborators and looking at those who can contribute content from the community itself. Finding a good resource person who have a niche area for us to create content and post it in our social media, so that we have continuously, because actually the presence of knowledge and information is limitless. So therefore, it's always a lot of content can be created, as long as we find the right person and then the right source. And lastly, develop and implement the plan. So what we need to do, implement, find the plan, discuss the plan, and implement it. So it's always looking forward for more collaborations. So probably we in the library, the librarians in the library have a limited because probably we are one or two at the library. So those small library, one or two. We have experience, we have small libraries in Sarawak. We only have 2 people. But still we can continue doing the programs. We continue collaborations, and then we continue with the establish of the content because of we engage with the community. So the continuity of this content creation, the program organizing programs will sustain if we get people involved, because a lot of people. So this time, this group of people will contribute in terms of content, and then we engage another group of people. In that community, we have a lot of people, so they will continue making progress, making content based on their creativity and so on. All right. So lastly, I want to share with all of you a quote by David Lankes: "Bad libraries build collections, good libraries build services, great libraries build community." So community is our support. We need their support. So engage with them, create a good rapport, establish a partnership with them. So I really hope that we can establish a culture of inspire our fellow librarians to do great for these professions, people in our country, and continuously innovate to face the challenges and solve problems, and collaborate to create opportunity for future collaborations and partnership in our region, in our country. So let's work together. Please share this knowledge, and then please remember, libraries change life. Thank you and stay safe. Back to you, Madam Aminat. Thank you everyone for your patience and listening. So I welcome questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mazli. I'm really impressed. And thank you very much for the insightful and very exciting presentation. Any questions for Mr. Mazli? From the audience, you can switch on the mic. Now the floor is open for the participants to ask questions. Well, I'm very impressed with the work done by the Sarawak Library during the pandemic, and very much impressed with the mobile app and Bookbay. And how many requests do you get per day for the Bookbay? Yeah.
Okay. When we first started, it's about 10 to 20 requests only. 10 to 20 requests per day, and then we have to deliver the same day. But we have a policy where any request after 4:30 in the afternoon, we will deliver next day from 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, any request within 8 to 5 will be delivered the same day. So as per my meeting with my colleague on the 6th of September, it now increased to 30 to 35 requests per day that we have to attend. So that's why we are going next step for this Bookbay service. We are improving our mobile apps to address payment, and as well as address returnings of books. Currently, we have order management and delivery management. So in future, we might have to charge this
Oh,
service. Currently, it's free. So in future, we might have to charge because of the request, the number of ordering has been increased. Yeah, but we are going to do it minimal charge only, just to cover a delivery charge, no other charge.
I have a question received from Noor, and she's asking that she needs a if parents aren't familiar with the internet, how to some ideas how to improve this. I think she's working in one school library, and she's asking that the parents of the students, they are not very familiar with the internet, how to improve. Yeah,
Okay.
some ideas.
First we need to establish their interest.
Yeah.
Some people, they don't know because they don't have interest. Because their interest is not there. So first, we have to establish their interests. What are their hobbies? Probably things that we need to ask before we build their interest to use the technology or to use internet is we must know what is their interest. If their interest on hobbies, for example, like cooking or making things, probably that's how we provide them with such content for them to attach to. So
Mhm.
first thing we need to establish their interest. It's not talking about others, but we as a librarians, we also have something that we interested to, isn't it? So
Yeah.
when we interest, we want to learn. We
Yeah.
want to know more about it. So the first thing when it comes to this situation is we must know, do a simple research to study what are their interests. So
Oh, yeah.
then we tackle step by step. If their interest is this, we provide them with, okay, the internet have this content for them to learn, for them to know. Then later on, they will know how to find it. So when they know how to find it, we create their interest already. So how to find it, where to find it is through the internet. So then they will learn the internet on how to use the internet to get that content.
Very good idea. Yeah, and also I strongly agree with you with the word that you said, the quote that you said, start small and grow big. Yes. And
Yes.
also it's very important about the digital marketing and digital literacy. Now we are going towards the digital libraries and things like that. Yeah. And also uh, about the raspberry pi and eating biryani is also very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And any questions from the audience? If no, I think we can wrap up, as now this is the very end of the webinar. Thank you, audience. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Gina for making this webinar to happen, and many more thanks to the very knowledgeable and super presenter, Mr. Mazli. Have a good day and be safe. Wassalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Are we going to take pictures with all the audience? It's good memory then.
Uh, I think Zul will take the picture.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. I can, if you don't have time to ask the questions today,
Yeah.
I can be reached through my email. So
Okay.
probably Madam Shuna can share my email to everyone. I will be happy to share your questions offline in a privately through email. So if you have questions, I hope it inspire everyone on the presentation just now. I hope it gets time for us librarians to be united and to keep sustainable. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum.
Bye. Walaikum assalam.